Okay, let's continue to talk about the features on the program and routine level. In this video, we will first talk about the program parameters and also relate to the JSR instructions, right? So let's look at a picture from the Rockwell manual, right? I will post the link under the description section, right? So on this picture, it shows three different setups. So first, if the data is within the controller level, all right? So if you create, for example, those three tags within the controller tag, so that's what we call the global. And then if you have different program A and B in this picture, they both can see those three tags. That's why they call global or they call public, right? So those kind of data you can share among different programs. And within each program, for example, within the program A, if you create tag as the local tag, like this one, 4 and 5, right? Local data. And within the program B, you can do the same thing. So notice they have the same name, right? 4 and 5, 4 and 5. But notice here, those data, they don't exchange to each other. So they cannot see each other. So that's why they call local data or private, right? There's no exchange between the 4 and 5, even though they have the same name, right? So this is the basic concept of the tag, right? So before we introduce the program parameters. So over here, I have the program, so we can look at the demo. But before I do that, I need to change the window. But let me just finish here. So, well, we are on this page, right? So notice here, that's the third different settings, right? Third type. So if you set up as the parameters, they can be linked together. So they have a different connections. So notice here, right? So this is no connection at all. And this one, you can make them to connect to each other so they can exchange the information. It's almost like a backdoor, right? Between these two programs, there's some sort of a backdoor that you can talk to each other, right? But you have to set up as a program parameters first, right? So this is the basic ideas and the difference, right? Either controller tag, local tag, or program parameters, right? So now let's look at the from the program demo point. All right. So let me change the size so you can see better on the screen. All right. So I create the program structure according to the manual, right? So if look at here. So if you have the tag created controller level, they are public. You understand that, right? So within the program A and B, they both can have local tags. So right now on the right hand side, you can see on here I have sorry. So I have the program A, right? So that's the local tag, right? You can see tag 4 and 5, I create as local. And within the program B, I also create two tags with the same name, 4 and 5, but they all create as local tag, right? Right now, I can let you to see that. I'm running online, right? So right now it's in the remote run. So if I change the tag 4 value, so if I change to value 4, that only change within program A and program B, even though it has same name here, it doesn't change the value, right? Because they are different, they are private, right? I can also change it to 2. They are not interfering to each other, right? So they basically separate tags, right? So the same thing for tag 5, right? Just let you know the what you see with the setup. You can underneath the column of usage is local tag, right? So now I'm going to set up the program parameter. In order to do that, I have to go offline and download later, right? So over here, so let me create the name first. So the program parameter 1, right? So you can see the default is local, right? So then I can create more. So this one I can create 2 here. Underneath the program B, once I go into the edit, I can create more name. So that'll be 3. Again, if I don't make any changes, they just accept the default setup as a local. So they'll be the same as the 4 and 5, tag 4 and 5, right? But this time I want to do different, right? So if you, let's look at here. So basically I want you understand, I want to set up the parameters. So this one as input, and that get data from program B parameter 4. So this one will be the output. And same thing, if the parameter number 2 set up as output, that can send information to program B in the program parameter 3 as input. So this is the idea for next step, right? So I'm going to do this with the program, right? So let's go back to here. Okay, so I already have the name on here. So let me just temporarily block here. Yeah, so default is local. So now if I click the pull down, I can set up this one as input parameter. And then on this one, I can set up as the output parameter, right? There are also other different types, but we can just first look at these 2 basic types first, all right? So on the parameter 3, I can, on the B program, I can set up input, next one output. All right. So set up that, and then I have to set up the connections. All right. So over here, if you look at over here, there's a column called connections. So sometimes you don't see that at the beginning. So in order to do that, you have to go to view, and then you have to toggle the columns, right? So like currently, you can see I just toggle that on. If at the beginning it's not being checked, you won't see the column of connections. So you have to come back here to check the column, right? So now let's look at the program 1. Now, I can go into here, click on that, set up new connection, and then click this button. So and you can see here, right? So I have different programs. So if I want to make connection to program B, I have to select here. So on the list, you can see the program B, the program parameter 4 set up as output, right? Output to connect to the input in between two different programs. So that's right. So I can click on that, click OK. So basically I set up, I make the parameter 1 connect to program B's parameter 4, right? So if I can make this column wider, you will see that. Yeah, so you can see there, program B, program parameter 4. And if I set up the this one, let's try it. I don't know if I can do that. So uncheck those. There's so many different. I can do it right on here. So you can see program B, and that's input parameter, right? And I can make a connection on here. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah. So once I set up this, I can start download. Then you can see the result, right? So hopefully that won't take a very long time. I tried to do it online. It couldn't let me to do it, right? So that's why I have to go offline, all right? So we have to wait here. While we're waiting, I think I can talk about a little bit on the next step. You can see here right now, I'm talking about the program parameter. And then later on, I will talk about the JSR parameter, right? So those two concepts are very important for us to understand the next topic, the add-on instruction, because you can see here, they're based on the concepts of these two parameters, right? Let me see if the program being downloaded. Still in the middle of download. All right, so I'll just continue to talk about this. All right, so if on the if you Google that, Google the JSR, probably that will bring you to the Rockwell. Right, so I heard something. Probably already download. Let me see. Yeah, so let's go back. Later on, I will come back to continue to talk about the JSR. All right. So now it's already downloaded. So we made a connection in between two programs, A and B. All right. So now let's monitor a value. Monitor a value. All right. So program number 1 is the input parameter that controlled to the program 4 in program parameter 4, right? So if I change it to 5, yeah, you can see here that also changed into program A with the parameter 1 because I already make the connection, right? Like before on the menu, right? So if you set up as a local, they don't connect to each other. But if you set up as a program parameter, you could have this sort of connection, right? Almost like a backdoor, but you have to set it up, right? Same thing for here. So the program parameter 2 in program A is the output, right? So if I change to 3, you can see here, it's changed to value 3 because they connected to each other, right? So this is what I want you to see here. They have the interconnection in between two programs, as long as you have the program parameter set up, right? So the connection on there, right? Okay, so let's move on to the JSR. So the JSR parameters, like I said before, it's not very commonly used, but in order for us to move on to add-on instruction, we have to talk about this, right? Also, this is a very good practice for us to understand the parameter. So there are 3 instructions involved with those routine program, right? So before you jump to a subroutine, you can pass the parameter into that routine. And then from the subroutine, you can return the parameter, sort of like a input-output parameters. We just look at it, right? So those are the three instructions. And then there are also kind of explanations in there, right? So you can see JSR. Let's go on to look at the example to understand that. All right, so JSR that used to call different subroutine, right? SBR subroutine, there'll be the instruction to indicate the starting of the subroutine, and return, that'll be the last one to feedback information into the caller, right? So you can even have sort of like a chain connections, go to different layers, right? So normally we only use JSR without the SBR and RET, but that's possible, right? But if you want to pass the parameters, you have to include that on here. So let's look at the examples on here. So with JSR, you can see you can pass the input parameter into subroutine. And then with the subroutine, it will get the value and do the job and then return back to the caller. So this is the basic idea of these three instructions. And let me do the demo to control that. Let me close that. All right. Okay, so again, let me zoom in here. Okay. So in this case, I only use program A. Let's have a look. All right. So for example, so this is the main routine. Then we can create a subroutine. So with this subroutine, we just want to do a very simple thing. So to make the value double, so I'll call it doubler, right? So let's look at here. So within this doubler, you can see here, I'll just use a multiplication for that. So for this, I can call the P input parameter, right? So, and then time by 2, and then go to the parameter out. So very simple logic, just get the input value times 2 and then go back, right? So, but in order to make the parameter passing smoothly, we have to have the set up here. That's the instruction called SBR. So SBR, and that give you the input parameter with question mark. So we want to use this as input parameter. So that basically tells the PLC, I want to use P underscore in as the input parameter for this subroutine, and then I times 2 and then get the value to the P out. And in order to pass the information out, we have to use RET, right? So with RET, if I right click, that they don't have the parameters show up at the beginning, but I can add, right? If you right click, add return parameter. So for that, I just need to get the parameter out on here, right? So you can see very simple parameter in, parameter out. I just need to double that and finalize the logic, very simple logic, double them, right? So, oh yeah, so on the main routine, I didn't finish on here. You can see, right? Just in case if you didn't see that, I try to download. You can see here there's an error, right? Empty run. Okay, so that's this one. So this is the main routine. I'll finish here. JSR. All right. So remember before, this is normally we set up this as the call the subroutine, right? So, but this time we also want to pass the data into the program, right? So you could do it without this data passing in and out, but we want to understand and practice the parameters. So that's why I will add more on here. So same thing, if you right click here, you have options, uh, add input parameter. And if you do it again, you can also remove, right? So you can add return. So this is the caller, right? This is in the subroutine. So if I create a new tag, so for example, I can use number 1 and then new tag number 2 as 2 parameters, right? So they're different, right? So different tag names, right? So if I finalize it, so it's download, it's running now, right? So it's good. So let's look at again. In the main routine, I use JSR, set up the routine name and also the parameters. N1 as input, N2 that's output, right? So once I call that, right, the number 1 will copy into parameter in and out as the output, right? So probably it's better to look at from here. Yeah. So on here, right? So N1, N2, P in, P out. You understand that? That's what we created in there. And if I type in 1, yeah, so you can see as we designed, right? N1 as input, pass the value into there. N2 as output, that's the result. And within the subroutine, we use P in, P out, right? That's also in there. So you may argue, right? So what's the point? You don't see any necessary, it's necessary to do this sort of pass in, pass out. Yes. So in this simple example, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you consider that you have lots subroutines, and especially with the subroutine could be created, designed by different people, different programmer, they may have a different name on their mind, right? So that means they are free to use any name they want, right? So you don't have to consider to each other to make a consistent within this sort of design, right? So this is one reason. The other reason is that it treat the routine as a black box, right? So this black box, internally, you have the P in, P out. But from outside, you don't even know that they exist, right? From outside, you can pass in the any tag name you want. In this case, I use N1 and then use N2 as the output to get the value. So in this way, these two parts of program can be designed by two separate programmer, right? Two people can work on that without concerning the name, right? So they can independently to choose the name they want. right? So this is sort of idea, right? Again, in the simple format, it's not necessary, right? You don't even need to use the SBR and RET, just use JSR to call the subroutine. Probably that's the most common way we use the JSR, use as a way to structure your logic into different routines, right? But they do have the ability function with the parameter pass in and out. And that's the concept we will use for the add-on instruction, right? So I will continue on the next video to talk about those concepts.